Well, Jim, I have one final question for you before
Yeah.
before we kick off. I'm curious, if you were looking for a specific resource that you just haven't seen out there, is there anything out there or anything that you kind of wish was existed in the spinoff area that doesn't?
Um, that's a really good question. I might want to think about that for a while. It things have changed over the years.
Mhm.
If you'd asked me that question in 2005 or six or seven, somewhere along there, just having a list of spinoffs
Mhm.
would have been a fabulous thing. Now that's pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
The SEC.gov, they really upgraded their website so you can do some searches. Um, I'll tell you, it's sometimes it's a little hard to find out background on the new management. Sometimes that takes me a while. Um, I think the numbers are all there, and I agree with Greenblatt. You have got to do your own homework.
Oh yeah.
That's been a hard lesson. Like I said, I followed Bill Mitchell for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, and I got lazy doing my own work. I would just check his figures and um, decide if I was going to go with what he was saying or not. And when he stopped publishing, I had to go out there and start doing it myself. Um, and it took a lot more time. Um, he had a very nice service. He had commentary and in one column, and then he had the numbers on the right hand margin,
Yeah.
and had some calculations down below so you could quickly check. Um, and he was using Greenblatt's ROIC and earnings yield too, and so it was really easy on his presentation to look those numbers up. And uh, but I really think there's value in doing that work yourself, because as you're doing it, you're thinking about things,
Mhm.
and when you read it, you don't think about those things, and you miss part of the story.
Yeah.
You just, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
because you'll be calculating and go, wait a minute, how's this going? And then you go look at something. But if it's just all presented to you on one page, you read it and go, okay, that's it, and you miss some.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. And this wasn't from my Mitchell days, but there was a company called SPX, and it did a spinoff. The spinoff was bigger than the parent. And the commentary in the financial news was everybody's excited about the spinoff, which was called XPX Flow. And they were all excited. What a great company that was. And I decided to take a look at the parent. And it was a little hard. It's a little hard when you have to do that. You have to take these old financials and subtract the spinoff and come up with new figures. And so I was doing that, and I had some questions, and I went to their site, and they had I don't know if it was an investor's day or commentary on their last quarter or whatever, but I went to that, listened to the conference call, looked at their slides, and they didn't make a big deal about it. But everybody was shunning this parent because it wasn't a screaming bargain like they supposed the spinoff was. But in their presentation, they said they were closing down a division that was losing money. And I never saw anything in the financial news about that. And all you had to do is spend 5 minutes and subtract those losses, and you had a big bargain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And So it was just a question of how long it was going to take them to close it down. But I bought a bunch of stock. They finally closed it down. I think it took about 6 months, and I'd have to go back and check. But I believe I made it. It's not bragging. It's just something that you see and you go with it because, like Greenblatt said, an anvil just fell on your head and you realize you're looking at something. I think I made 100% in 6 months.
Wow.
And it was all over finding this little dinky thing that they were closing down this division. So you have this company that's making $1, right? But they're really making $2 because this one division's losing a buck.
Sucking up the capital.
And actually, they didn't get rid of the division. They decoupled the operation from there, got somebody else to take it over. And then they sold a Europe division that was kind of losing money. And by the time they were done with that, the $1 a share, and these aren't real figures, but the $1 per share earnings became $2 a share earnings. And then bang, and everybody saw it. Price got back where it belonged.
Kind of a no-brainer when that happens.
It's a real no-brainer. But if I had just looked at the Form 10, just looked at the financials, and gone to the conference call, I would have missed it. And I think everybody else missed it too, because they were all excited about that, the spinoff.
Yeah, how fun. Well, do you have any questions for me before we hang up?
No, where are you at? Looks like you're in a motel room.
Yeah, I'm in Korea right now.
All right.
I'll be here for work for the next.
The north side, I hope not. You're
south. No, not in the north side. So,
do they have, is that like a lot of the areas around there? Do they have beautiful beaches?
I haven't been to a beach in Korea yet. Most of my time's been when it's a little bit cooler here. But
some parts of that world, they just have really pristine beaches.
Yeah, I've been told I need to get out to Jeju Island. So the Republic of Korea, South Korea, has an island that's south of it that's part of their country, one of their states basically, and it apparently it's really a real treat to go there. So maybe I'll get there on July 4th.
What's the food everybody talks about? Kimchi or something like that?
Kimchi.
You had that?
Oh yeah.
Did you like it?
I do. I like local fare wherever I go. I think it's interesting to see what people eat, so I spend my time. I'm here working for the military, so if you were if you heard about us going into North Korea, then you'd probably know about me moving up there. Hopefully that doesn't happen while I'm here. My wife would be a little nervous.
No, we've only been there for what, 70 years now? 65.
That's right. It's I don't know. It's a pretty messed up situation, unfortunately.
Yeah. Everybody at the time thought they were doing something smart.
Yeah.
This is where you end up.
Yep. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that's what we'll see with Afghanistan in a couple of years.
Another place where people thought they were smart.
That's a good lesson in life that kind of applies to investing. Once you think you're smart, you're probably making a mistake.
Well, I had going back and talking about marriage and stuff. I had one professor that told me something that made a big impact, and Jane and I kind of used it and still use it in our marriage. But when we got married, we sat down and said, okay, what principles, what guidelines are we going to follow? And I said, look, I heard this one thing from, I had Stephen Covey as a professor, and he told me this. He said, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I've been perfect for so long. I want to get up and make some mistakes today. Nobody makes a mistake on purpose. A nanosecond later, they may think it's a mistake, but when they did it, nobody thought they were making a mistake.
Yep.
And there's been a few times that we've had to apply that rule in our marriage. Yeah, I know you weren't trying to make a mistake on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's some pretty good advice. That's some pretty good advice. Well, Jim, tell Jane thank you for letting me borrow you for the last hour or so, and I really appreciate you sharing your experience with me.
Well, good luck in everything you're doing. I don't know how you're doing all this investing, being in Korea and working full time, but it's a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time. I've never really had much of a social life. That hasn't really been my forte. So I spend my time looking at these things, So I like to read. That's what it is. So
that's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Well,
glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good luck to you.
Hey, take care, Jim.
Bye-bye.